But now we'll go ahead and send you guys over to our final segment, climbing the ranks.
Welcome to Climbing the Ranks. In this segment, me and Logan will be tier listing things within Star Wars. Now, our tier list consists of 5 different tiers, ranging from Commander, Captain, Lieutenant, Sergeant, and our very bottom tier, Cadet. Now, this time around, we will be tier listing Star Wars video games. Now, we have 8 video games picked at random. I'm a big video game guy. Logan is as well. How you feeling right now, Logan? You excited to get into this tier list today?
I am excited. Granted, these aren't completely random because we definitely had to choose things that, like, we have experience playing. But there are things that we have experience playing that we did leave out.
Yeah, of course.
So this is 8 of probably. It's like a good spread, I would say, but definitely ones that we have some experience on. So I'm excited for it for sure.
Well, let's not waste any more time and get right into this tier list. Now, our first video game that we have up, Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. Now, obviously, this is like the goated Star Wars video game to a lot of people. I mean, this game is just great. There's the campaign, following the 501st, beautifully done. The multiplayer was just great. The maps, the time setting, around Revenge of the Sith. I love that era. I mean, everything about this game, I just love.
Yeah, because you get a lot of that era. You get a lot of things within the game built around that. Like, you get interesting planets that you've only really seen in Revenge of the Sith, and you barely see them. Like, you see Megiddo, you see a bit of Felucia, you see Polis Massa, which isn't even a planet, but they have it as a playable map in the game, when literally all you see is Padme give birth on it. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think that's sweet. The maps are really good, and the different units across each era for each team, sweet. The heroes, great. Are there some that would have been cool to be included? Sure. But I think the ones that are in it are awesome. It's definitely like, it's the combat and everything is all dated. Like, it's 2005.
Yeah, you can feel
but
it.
I think the fun of it holds up today. 18 years later, like, it holds up. So and also, like you said, the campaign, unreal. Unreal. So, and I always have to say this anytime I talk about this game: Galactic Conquest, the greatest video game mode of all time.
Yeah.
How they didn't do it in the new one, I have no idea. It's phenomenal. Yeah, and the space battles are great too as well. So
yeah,
I don't know, Mark. I think you saw this coming from me, but this is easy Commander for me. This is the greatest Star Wars video game of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't disagree, man. I mean, this video game is top tier for a lot of people, and for good reason. All the reasons you stated, all the reasons I stated. I mean, yeah, I don't even need to say anything else about it. Go ahead and throw it in the Commander tier.
All right, Mark.
Now, for our second Star Wars game, we got Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. Now, obviously, we all played this as kids. I'm assuming. Um, this is a lot of my childhood right here, just playing through the levels. I remember being frustrated at some of them because I couldn't figure out what to do. Because as a kid, some of those puzzles were a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, and the the combat was even difficult too at a young age. So it was definitely a challenge and maybe forced me to rage a little bit. But despite all of that, I think this game is great. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. For it being a kid's game, even playing it now, I mean, I still enjoy playing it now, going back to
Mm-hmm.
it, just trying to relive some memories. The level designs were really good. There's definitely a bit of difficulty to them. So, I for where I would put it on a tier list, I kind of want to wait to see what you have to say about it, but
Mm-hmm.
because I'm on the fence about commander and captain right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely seen as the best Lego game. I will reserve my opinion for possibly maybe some other things on this list, so I won't uh, spoil my opinion there. But I will say I do. I agree with you that as a kid, it can definitely be like the combat can be frustrating. Some of the puzzles. I think it's so funny how even as an adult, this game can be very easy and very challenging. I think like, mini kits. There's
Oh
still
yeah,
like some mini kits I don't think I'll ever find without looking it up. But then now, like as an adult, the combat is the easiest thing cheese in the world. You just ground
oh yeah,
smash the whole time.
yep.
So
It's the cheese.
yeah, but I think my main opinion on this game specifically for the longest time has just always been I'm not a huge fan of the changes they made to the prequel uh, levels. They made some minor changes, but also some major changes to those levels specifically, and I'm not a huge fan of those changes. And I was never because I played Lego Star Wars 2 more than I played the complete saga. I played the complete saga as an adult, like a couple years ago, maybe not even two.
Yeah.
So I've played it pretty recently. But Lego Star Wars 2 was the main one that I had a lot of playtime on, and that's still got the same levels, the original trilogy levels. And I always felt like those levels were just a little bit worse than the original prequel ones. I
Yeah,
think
no, I
they
get
just
what.
linger a little too long, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't think they're as fun and as engaging. So I think that's the little bit of a step down, but the overall content in the game and just the fun that you can have on it can't be overstated. So it this is like I said, it's very highly regarded as the best Lego Star Wars game, but I would personally say Captain. It's not one that I can feel comfortable putting in Commander.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot because they do make like the pod race, for example. Like it was, I feel like it was more challenging in the original
Mm-hmm.
than it was in the complete saga and different stuff
They
like that.
they changed the
Um,
gunship level in episode 2.
yeah, they definitely that made it easier. But I do like having all six movies in one game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was more of the convenience that was better because instead of having two different, like separate discs for the prequels and originals, you had just one for all six.
yeah.
Um, Obviously the 100%er was insane, but I'm honestly, because I'd be hard pressed to not put in a commander, but I think I might be cool with captain.
Okay.
You know what? Go ahead and throw it in captain tier. Now moving on to our third video game, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Now I've talked about this before. This holds a special place in my heart. It's probably my favorite Star Wars video game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the game that I remember the most playing while I was growing up. I mean, I the it really caught my eye because of the character Star Killer. I've always loved his character. How powerful he was in the game. Just being able to take down armies of stormtroopers or Felucians or rebels. I mean, all these different kind of factions and like level design you had to go through. You just tear through everything. Because we never like really had that before
Yeah.
in a video game. I loved the level designs. I thought they were really good. I liked how it had two different endings, a good and a bad. And then the DLC on Tatooine and Hoth, I really like those DLCs a lot. And picking the bad ending, having that like that armor that he has at the end, dude, that's like the coolest look I've seen in Star Wars, and I don't think it will ever be topped. I think that is the coolest look for any character. So, what do you gotta say about it here, Logan?
I mean, you definitely have more of a say in this one than I do. I have played it, but it's been a very long time since I've played it. So I don't have the complete memory of it. But I will say, obviously, like, just the feeling that you get playing as Star Killer and having that just, you feel invincible,
Yeah.
is to a lot of people a feeling you really want to get out of a video game. And especially one in Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Sam Witwer's performance as Star Killer, phenomenal.
It's amazing. It is phenomenal.
So, yeah, I don't want to speak on it too much because I don't want to have any like uneducated opinions because maybe I don't fully remember certain things. So, I'm completely okay going with your opinions here and where you really want to put it. My initial thought would be Captain, just because, and I'm only saying that in my opinion because Battlefront 2 is such a high bar that it's tough for me to even put anything toward that tier. You know?
Oh yeah, and I get what you mean. I just because I'm so biased towards this game. I love this
Mm-hmm.
game. Like this is probably like I said, my favorite Star Wars game. So obviously, my initial reaction for being an absolute fanboy for the game for Star Killer is to put in Commander. But I also get what you're saying, so I kind of gotta. I feel like I gotta bring myself back down to earth a little bit here, or bring myself back down to Coruscant a little bit.
Yes, yes.
Um, and I think I just gotta go throw it in Captain, even though I want to throw it in Commander. Battlefront 2, you are right, it's just a high standard for all video games here. So
Yeah.
I'm absolutely cool with the Captain tier for Force Unleashed.
Okay. We'll go ahead and throw it there.
Now for our fourth game here, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. We know this game quite a bit. Obviously, the viewers, you guys know about this game quite a bit too, or at least some of you, at least. I'm assuming most though.
Mm-hmm.
Man, where do I even begin with this game?
You want
There's
me
a
to
lot of.
start?
You can start. You can start this one.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, the Star Wars CS channel here, the home of the Galactic Core, did start as a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes YouTube channel. And it was a pretty interesting experience for an entire year. And then now we're here with the Galactic Core. Definitely happy to be here and not still playing Galaxy of Heroes for videos, but I digress. The game is a mixed bag. It's the typical mobile game where it is the most pay to win thing you have ever seen in your entire life. I
It's
mean,
bad.
it is bad. But I do like the actual gameplay and the gameplay mechanics of it. I like the turn-based battles. I love the amount of characters they have in the game. I have so much character knowledge because of this game. I've got plenty of gripes with it. I do want to be a bit positive though, and like I said, I think the actual gameplay of it is great. I do really like it. I have so much fun with it. There's a competitive mode in it, super fun to play. I mean, I don't really have any complaints there. The main complaints are that it's so insanely pay to win, which to me is actually fine because that's the only way like a game like that is going to be able to stay around. Is they like that's why mobile games are like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that the way that it's played, where like you have to be playing every single day to make sure you don't fall behind. You're it, you're basically indebted to your guild to be able to keep up and progress in the game. It takes incredibly long to progress, especially in certain aspects of it. It's a mixed bag. I don't want to go too deep. I could literally make a 3 hour long video about Galaxy of Heroes right now on the spot if I needed to. I did videos on it for so long that I really could. But my initial reaction, obviously, you can let your opinions go here in a second. But my initial reaction, I would put it in Sergeant. I would not put it in Cadet because I do enjoy the game. But I think there's a lot of things that could be changed to make it better, and a lot of things that could be added to make it better. Because I think it's missing a lot of things that should be in it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I could sit here and harp on the negatives all day because I have quite a few of them. I mean, like you said, you're basically indebted to your guild, like you said. I mean, you have to literally get on every day, make sure you join the territory war, the territory battle, make sure you set defenses, make sure you attack. And then Grand Arena, you gotta make sure you're on every single day, like checking, making sure that you're on top of everything. And that's the worst part about it, I think. That
Mm-hmm.
because you get extremely like burnt, and some days when I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, I got to do my dailies, so I just sit here and just mindlessly do them. Like I do them as quick as I can to just
Yeah.
get them done with and over with, because I don't want to be on the game like that for that day, for example. But no, the gameplay is good. Honestly, it is. I mean, it can be a little rage inducing when you get the RNG factor and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
as is with turn-based combat, it's just kind of how it goes. Um, and the amount of like at this point with the amount of like knowledge you have to know, like I don't know everybody's kit. I'm never gonna know everybody's kit.
Yeah.
So when I go to throw something in a battle and it doesn't work, I'm like, oh, it does, like my character, like my team got countered by this because of this, and I'm like, well, I didn't know that, like, and
Yeah.
I'm not
Or
gonna,
I forgot about it.
yeah, and I forgot, and I don't
Yeah.
want to sit here and study everybody's kit down to a T. Like I just don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
that, and I don't have the time for that anyway. But um, there's a lot of different things that's like kind of annoying about the game, but I recently got to Jedi Knight Luke a couple. I mean, it might have a couple days ago. I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I got Jedi Knight Luke unlocked. And every time you get a character unlocked, you just get this feeling where it's like, dude, I finally accomplished my goal here.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready to move on to the next one. And I'm still kind of in that phase a little bit, but I'm starting to drift away from that phase and being back into the whole I'm in the grinder again, essentially. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, but just that feeling of getting a new character that's like powerful. I mean, nothing can really top that feeling. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I mean, it's such a grind of a game. It's
and that's really what brings it down for me is just I'm not opposed to a grind, but this game's grind is on a whole nother level of any grind that I've ever done, like on any
yeah.
video game. So now I'm absolutely cool with throwing in the sergeant tier here.
All right.
Now on to our fifth Star Wars video game here, uh, Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, so when I first played this game, I'll just start from the beginning. First bought this game, I was hyped. Finally, a new single player game for Star Wars. I hopped on. I don't want to say it's not Dark Souls, but it's a little bit similar to that in the
Mm-hmm.
combat style. I hopped on and played it, and I'm not gonna lie, I beat it, but I hated my life. I hated playing it. I did not have fun because I was I was so used to the Force Unleashed. That's kind of what I was expecting, something like
Yeah.
that. and that's not what I got at all. So I was like, I didn't like it. So I beat it, didn't touch it again. Then I came back, 100% and it, did everything, and I didn't have as bad of a time with it that time. So then I'm like, well, let me do New Game Plus on the hardest difficulty Jedi Grandmaster. And I had gotten better at the game. I kind of figured out how it works, how the mechanics work, and all that stuff. And I actually didn't mind it that time. Like, honestly, I actually didn't mind it. I had fun. And then I, right before Jedi Survivor came out, I played this game one more time on Jedi Grandmaster, but I didn't do it on New Game Plus. I started fresh in the beginning, no abilities, no nothing, to make sure that I was prepared for this. And that might have been the most fun I had on that game.
Mm-hmm.
I understood the combat. I figured out how it worked. I know different enemies' weaknesses. I knew how to beat bosses. I knew their move sets. And I'm not gonna lie, the characters have grown on me, especially after Survivor. But we're not talking about Survivor right now. We're talking about Fallen Order. And the characters started to grow on me. I didn't like Cal at first. And after playing through the game the third time, getting ready for Survivor, I'm not gonna lie, I was slowly becoming a fan. I'm not gonna lie. I think his story with him surviving Order 66 and that scene where you're running away from the clones on the Venator, I mean that's just great. It's and you hear like Anakin, I believe it's Anakin Dark Deeds. I believe that's what's playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that was, dude, I got like chills playing that. It was insane. But him surviving Order 66, going through what he went through in his life and being able to finally like reconnect with the Force and start taking down Inquisitors. I mean, he was holding his ground by the end of the game with Inquisitors. But then Darth Vader shows up and completely tanks all of your progress, and you realize just how weak you are because you can't touch
Yeah.
them. But despite all of that, I think this game is honestly pretty good. The story's great. The combat felt better as I got better with it and understood it. And I thought the planets were pretty cool too. We got to be on Dathomir. That was really cool. Kashyyyk, obviously, and Bogano, some new planets. I hate Zepho. One thing I hate about this game, and I still hate about it to this day, is Zepho. Navigating that planet is the worst thing ever. But I'll leave it at that. What do you gotta say? Well, I guess
I
you can
mean,
talk about the characters a little bit. I guess.
yeah, this is a two-man show here, but this is one of those games that we threw in because it's one of those games that has to be shown in this. But I haven't played it, and to be blunt with it, I don't plan on playing it just because it's just not quite the type of game I play.
Yeah.
But I've essentially only heard good things about it. The only bad things I feel like I've heard about it is when it came out, like bugs and stuff, which just happens with basically any game now. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have any strong opinions on it as a game. The characters do seem pretty cool though, and now there being two games and most likely a third coming out gives so much to the characters that I could see why people are really getting attached to this whole storyline essentially. So I'm completely leaving this up to you. Like I said, it's usually a two-man show here, but this one genuinely does have to be up to you. Force Unleashed, at least I had some experience, although it's been a very long time. This one I have zero, so up to you.
Oh man, where do I want to throw this?
I mean, you
I do really like
you have the knowledge of what's coming next of the rest
Yeah.
of the games included on this list, so
This
you
is
can
true.
kind of decide.
Yeah, because I really like this game. I really do. Like this is a good game. And also Grease is a great character. I'll just throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably my favorite character in the whole series so far, but that's besides the point. I might have to I might have to throw this in captain tier. I'm not gonna lie. I mean this
You think so?
I might have to. It's hard for me not because I feel like if I put it in lieutenant, that's too low. I
Yeah.
really do genuinely enjoy this game now.
So you're putting it on Force Unleashed here.
I might have to because I do really like this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And this game does have replayability value like quite a bit within it. You know what? I'm not gonna linger on it anymore. We're throwing in the captain tier.
Okay. I have to go with you. I have to
I,
trust your opinion on it.
yeah, I think with the gameplay and the story and just everything, I'd be hard pressed not to throw in captain. So I'm just not gonna linger on it anymore. Captain tier. All right, now for our sixth Star Wars game, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. One gripe I have with this game: no multiplayer. That was a bit of a letdown, I will say. Um, Now for the positives, over the shoulder cam, I thought that was actually really. It was very different, but I actually kind of liked it. And it fit with what the game was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I will say some of the levels and the open world felt a little empty at times. They didn't. In some parts, the open world was good, and in some parts, it wasn't. Like some planets, it was better in some planets than others. Like when I went to Exegol in that game, Exegol was a really cool planet for open world stuff. Um, Coruscant, they had a bunch of different levels on Coruscant. I thought that was really cool too. That was pretty well done, but I don't know. Some of the planets, I'm trying to think like, because there were some planets that just felt kind of empty. Like Jakku, I think Jakku was one that just kind of. I mean, obviously it doesn't have much going on in the movie, but
Yeah.
it didn't really have much going on either for it in the open world. So I was kind of bored 100%ing that planet. Um, there was another one I forget, but I like the combat, but the open world and level design kind of brings it down for me a little bit here. What? How are you feeling about this game?
I think it's. I think this game, with the expectations of it, when it was announced and what people thought we were getting, it definitely disappointed more than it actually impressed. Because I mean, like you were saying, the level design is not too great. I think it focuses way too much on the. It seemed like they put more effort into the Kyber bricks in the open world than they did in the actual levels that you're playing.
I think they probably did because it felt like it for some of the bricks.
It felt like they didn't have a whole lot of. There wasn't a whole lot of nods back to the original games.
Yeah.
Which, not that you had to like copy those levels, but make them somewhat similar. I feel like there's a lot of things that are left out that should have been in as levels that were in the past. Like you're skipping over massive parts of the movies. Like they don't have the opening to Revenge of the Sith as a level, which is one of the better ones in the original games. The boss fights to me are all exactly the same. They kind of they had this whole sort of marketing thing of how many characters are going to be in the game, but they all feel the same except for the look, which, to their credit, the old games were like that. Basically, all the other, like, the other games, all the characters in it, they all look different, but they essentially all had the same mechanics. Or
Yeah.
there was like 4 different types of character. So I don't think that's like a bad thing, but it would have been nice to have something just tiny to kind of differentiate between a lot of the characters. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I could put this in cadet purely because it doesn't have online multiplayer. And when did this come out? 2021.
Something like that.
Absolutely awful. Obviously, I'm not going to put it in cadet. I was just trolling on that, but I would say lieutenant is a good spot. I think it dropped the ball on what it could have been, but I don't think it was awful,
Mhm.
and I still enjoyed playing it. But there's a lot of parts where I feel like they could have definitely improved upon, and they definitely could have been better. I mean the whole aspect of like this game was made to be played by one player, and
Yeah.
but then they had to make it two player, and they made it two player in the worst way ever. Like Revenge of the Sith, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. You not that these games have to be like fully with the continuity of the movies, because even the old ones weren't completely like that. But like, why in the Anakin versus Obi-Wan battle are we having C-3PO and R2-D2 run around and do things?
Yeah, that was probably my biggest disappointment with this game was that because
It's like,
one person, if you're playing a two player, one person is Obi-Wan and the other person is stuck with R2-D2 or
yeah,
C-3PO. Like that's just not fun for the other person.
yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
They dropped the ball on it for sure, but it's
yeah,
not it's not the worst thing I've ever played. I can tell you that.
yeah, no, I mean, I 100% this game, so obviously I enjoyed it. It was like my comfort game. I had just when I wanted to chill for a couple hours, I'd throw this on and I would just chill.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like we talked about, it does have its downfalls, but overall, I don't think it was a complete failure or flop. I think the expectations were just a little too high for it, and what they were kind of marketing with the open world was just they oversold it to us, and I think they oversold it, and our expectations for it were too high. I think that's a combination of those two that kind of made people feel a certain way about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I don't think it completely flopped. I still enjoyed it. I had fun with it. I found my own different fun with it. So, and I played it by myself. So obviously, I played it how the game was meant to be played. So,
Yeah.
um, I'm absolutely cool with throwing it in the lieutenant tier here. It's a solid game. Now our seventh game here, Star Wars Battlefront 2, 2017. Rocky start for this game,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I bought this game. I was a huge fan of 2015. I felt like I was one of the best players in the world. I'm not gonna lie. I had that big of an ego. So in going into this game, I was stoked, dude. I couldn't wait. I hop into it, pay to pay to win, pay to get all these different abilities, I don't know. I didn't like the way it felt at first. I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like the pay to win stuff and like everybody having these maxed out cards while I got one little gray card, the most like the one upgrade that I could get on like my assault class, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I ultimately didn't play this game for very long. I quit. I was done with it before they made all the changes. I just didn't play it. And then I finally jumped into it when we got back into it after all the changes had been made and Anakin was in and all this different stuff when we were playing those co-op missions. I don't believe they're called co-op missions, but they were like where you could have up to 4 people and you would battle like the AI droid, different eras.
Oh yeah.
Um, so we were playing that and I had a blast. I mean, that was a lot of fun. We were playing heroes versus villains, getting absolutely dunked on by people who have been playing the game for years. We were getting destroyed, and the rage was real in that. But that was probably some of the most fun times I've had. Is just us chilling here playing, going back to Battlefront 2 and feeling the changes that they had made and the effort that they had put in to make the game good and what it should have been in the first place. And Anakin should have been in day one. Obi-Wan should have been in day one. Grievous and Dooku probably should have been in day one. All the characters that they added later should have been in day one, but they did end up adding them eventually. So I'm not gonna like harp on it too much because they did add them, which was really nice. So, but nah, this game is really good. I'm very upset that they cut support for it
Yeah.
a while ago. I'm still upset about it to this day, but I'll leave it at I think this game revived itself and it overall turned out to be a great game by the end of its life cycle. So
I I think to me this is the best uh multiplayer Star Wars experience since Battlefront 2 2005.
oh yeah, I agree.
I also I definitely still have my gripes with the game. I mean, you touched on it about how there's so many iconic characters that are missing from it. It felt like because 2015 was all surrounded by the original trilogy, and it felt like when they brought this new one out, obviously the sequels were in the middle of coming out, so they were gonna highlight that, and then they just dragged over what they did from the previous one with the original trilogy, stuck it in there, had zero prequel content really. We're missing Anakin and Obi-Wan. How do you
I mean, those are like
how do you not have that in the game?
yeah, those are like the most important characters in Star Wars. Some of the most important
Yeah.
characters. Like, come on.
It's like, wow, top 3 most important characters in Star Wars. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Luke.
Yeah. And you don't
You
have
had
two
one
of
of them. Like,
I mean, dude, like the first 6 movies were basically about Anakin and the tragedy of Anakin
well, they have
Skywalker.
Darth Vader, so you can
Oh yeah, so my bad.
yeah, shut up. I mean, like that was just I thought that was always the worst thing with
Yeah.
the game, and the fact that all that came out I think 2.5 years after the game released was when they started putting that stuff out.
Hmm.
But that era of the game was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it was great.
It was just a great era of the game. I didn't play it uh, really right when it came out, so I didn't get the whole pay to win experience. Obviously, I could understand about that being awful.
You're
But
lucky you didn't get that experience.
yeah, but I'm also a huge believer in like letting a game breathe, let it take its time to really get on its feet. Because sometimes a game, especially like a mass multiplayer game, isn't gonna hit right away once the masses get it. It's gonna take some public opinion to really shape the game and how it's gonna be. But I love because I love Battlefield and I love the Battlefield feel to it because it's made by DICE, so it just had that Battlefield feel to it, and I love that. I do think it was missing some things. I think it could have had a little bit more single player type stuff. Like I feel like Galactic Conquest from, I mean, like I said, greatest video game mode of all time. I feel like that should have been included. I think they could have done that in some way. I do like a lot of these single player stuff that they do have within the game. But I also the fact that you can't make a private lobby on the game is kind of insane to me.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like the fact that they're gonna have heroes versus villains, and they're gonna have like the 2v2 heroes versus villains mode, and you're not gonna have private lobbies, kind of mind blowing to me. But I think it has more positives than negatives to me. So personally, I will put it in captain. I think there's a lot to love about the game, but I could understand some people disliking certain aspects about it. But obviously, super unfortunate that support got cut because I think it was shaping up to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, right when they cut support, that's where the game was
Peaking.
borderline peaking and borderline perfect. I thought they
Hmm.
had the game at a phenomenal state at that point, and they just came out with the Scarif and like all that like little Rogue One type stuff with it, and they just said, "Nah, we're gonna cut support for I don't know, no reason because I don't know, it's EA and I don't know what. I'm not gonna get too into the whole into that spiel, but
Yeah.
I I'm just so mad because it was so good. I was finally enjoying the game. I don't know. I'm not gonna harp on that a lot because I could say so many other things, but we're just gonna we're just gonna go ahead and throw it in that captain tier. I mean, now for our final video game here, Lego Star Wars the video game. So this is the OG one right here. Now, Logan, I'm actually gonna let you speak on this one first because I know you.
Hmm.
This one holds a lot closer to you, so I'll let you speak on this one first.
I mean, this is the best Lego Star Wars game in my opinion. I think it's perfect. There is I cannot say a single thing that I would change about this game. It's the level design is amazing. It is I feel like it's the perfect length. None of the levels feel like they drag to me. I think it's just perfect. I feel like they hit perfect spots within the movies for levels. The only spot within the movies that I feel like they miss, which they do pick up in future games, is the speeder chase in episode 2. But I don't think that like takes away from the game. Obviously, that's the only maybe thing that they missed out on in terms of the levels. But I mean, it doesn't get better than this when it comes to Lego games to me. And it being the first, I don't know. I think the degree of difficulty is perfect. I think it can be challenging, but then you also just have the fun aspects of it. And I mean, man, it's just you can't get much better than it. You really can't. I don't know. Oh my god. And we obviously both have a lot of experience playing this together as well. We've done speed runs of it so much. We've played it. We've played through it, sitting next to each other, played through it probably 6 or 7 times.
Oh yeah, no,
And I love it every time, to be honest.
we've played this game a lot, and it's fun every time.
And I mean, we've got to say it on here. We are I I don't want to say top 5 because I actually don't know on that. But I will
Yeah.
say we are top 10 guaranteed. Top
Yes.
10 glitchless speedrunners of this game. Because we do play it glitchless. We play it on PS2.
Yeah.
So any percent glitchless on PS2. Actually, with those specifications there, glitchless any percent on PS2, we were number 1 at one point. We have been
Yes, we were
passed,
number one.
but we
Yeah.
haven't given it a shot in quite a while. So,
Yeah.
but phenomenal game. Really, to me, it does not get much better. I'm going to tell you right now. It's gonna go up to you. I almost know where it's gonna go. I'm okay with captain. I do
Mhm.
think our captain tier is very overloaded.
It is
Uh,
very
but it's
overloaded.
understandable because I think Battlefront 2 deserves a tier of its own.
Hmm.
I would love to put this in Commander, but I will understand Captain because I just know like I've I've shot you down and your opinions down from putting something else on Commander,
Hmm.
so I would respect if you did the same. But I would love for it to be in Commander. I think it's the only one that possibly deserves to be next to Battlefront 2, but even then I would accept Captain because I don't know if anything deserves to be next to Battlefront 2.
Yeah, no, because I didn't play this too much. Like I played I played Complete Saga more as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've played the OG, the Lego Star Wars video game, a lot more with you than I think I've played it before.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. I mean, us just sitting there speed running, like just zoned in on the game. Like we're not like we're locked in playing
Mm-hmm.
this game, trying to get the fastest time we possibly can. And I mean, being top 10 speedrunners, top two for any percent glitchless on PS2, quite an achievement. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to pat ourselves on the back here, but I think that's quite an achievement. Um, I do think the level designs are great. Like you said, they don't linger too much, which I think Complete Saga has that problem with a couple levels here and there where,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the original trilogy, some of those original trilogy levels are brutal trying to play through. They just take forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I like this time period better. Prequels 1, 2, and 3. I like this time period a lot better. But man, I don't know if I could throw in Commander. I don't know.
And I completely understand that.
Having Battlefront 2 up there, it's just, and there are things, because I'm trying to. So here's my comparison. I'm trying to compare Complete Saga and Lego Star Wars video game. There are things that both do well, and I think the Lego Star Wars video game does things better, while I think Complete Saga does other things better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's definitely more content, Complete Saga, obviously, but yeah, I just don't know if I could throw in Commander. I think we might just have to keep Battlefront 2 and like have it in a tier of its own here, being
Yeah,
it the
it's that
lone.
upper echelon. It cannot be
Yeah,
touched, and maybe nothing ever will.
yeah. I'm cool with having it there. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and throw it in the captain tier here, and we'll have Battlefront 2 be the lone survivor in Commander, which I think is fair. Like you said, I don't think anything's gonna touch the game. I think
Should
it's just that
should we have
good.
probably put some things in Commander? Yeah, because it's like it's a tier list. We could still
Hmm.
say that like Battlefront 2 is the best and like
That's
the
true.
top of that tier. But in the context of the rest of this tier list, just nothing's close, man.
Yeah, no, it's. No, I honestly like it, even though our captain tier is obviously completely bloated. We have 5 out of the 8 in
Yeah,
captain tier. I think all the 5 in captain tier, they're all like equally as fun to play. I mean,
yeah.
like I
I think
really
that
don't
I think they none of them deserve to be lower
exactly.
than
Okay.
Captain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like this list. I really do. I don't see a problem with it. I think we got the games in the right spot. If you want to let us know down in the comments if you think we got it right, because I think we got it pretty good here. But obviously, everybody has their own opinions.
If you don't mind, Mark, my Coruscant apartment lighting has gone out. If you could just give me a couple minutes to sort this out, I want to see. I'm gonna have to go check down the hall if other people are having this issue.
Okay, no,
So
you're good.
let's pause for a couple seconds, come back, and we'll collect our thoughts on this.
You're good. You're good.
All right, Mark, my lighting situation is fixed. We are all good. I apologize for that. Sorry, we had to put the tier list on pause, but we have completed it. Why don't you go ahead and go over it one last time before we head out of here?
In our commander tier, we have the Lone Survivor Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005. And in our captain tier, we got Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Battlefront 2 from 2017, and Lego Star Wars The Video Game. Now down in our lieutenant tier, we got another Lone Survivor, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and in the sergeant tier, we got Galaxy of Heroes, and we have nothing in our cadet tier because I don't think there's a game that deserves to be in cadet here.
Yeah, I mean, could we have like moved some things down in context of a tier list? Maybe, but when we think about a tier list, we think of cadet is just bad, and
Yeah.
commander is the best of the best. So that's why our tier list has kind of ended up like this. I don't know, maybe it's a weird way to go about a tier list, but it's just how my brain works on it. So I'm not gonna.
That's yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. I mean, all of these games have something good about them,
Yes.
so that's why I feel like none of them should be in cadet.
Yeah, and maybe who knows? This one, I mean, there's so many Star Wars games, and some that I feel like we definitely should play and get some experience in, and maybe we could do a second version of this because there, although there haven't been many in recent years, there are plenty of Star Wars games to go around and experience. So I would love to do this another time.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is a blast. I love playing video games, so I'm definitely down to experiment with some other Star Wars games. Let us know what you think about our tier list down in the comments below. What would you change about it? What would your tier list look like? Go ahead and let us know. And with that, we will send you back to the boys to end off.